Hello everyone, my name is Antoy Visovic and I will be presenting my final signature project with you all today. My final project is on the topic of how to improve your overall health with nature walks. So for starters, nature-based activities have many benefits to it. Some of these benefits are that it lowers your blood pressure, reduces stress and anxiety levels, calms your nervous system and allows you to be more relaxed, increases your happiness, encourages physical activity, wards off depression, and makes you more creative, less aggressive, and more civic minded. Not only does nature based activities have benefits, but so does exercise science. Exercise science is based on many forms of exercise like walking. Some of these benefits are that it helps regulate weight, strengthens bones and muscles, improves your mental health and your overall mood, increases the chances of living longer, improves your ability to perform daily activities and prevent falls, and it even reduces the risk of cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndrome, and even some cancers. So, now, why this topic is so important is because physical inactivity is the fourth leading risk factor for death in the world, where it kills more than 5 million people per year. Also, mental illness is one of the most common non-communicable diseases in the United States, where 20% of Americans experience a mental illness in a given year. So, as we learned in the previous slides, nature-based activities and exercise like walking can improve both your mental and physical health. So that is why my topic is so important to talk about. Nonetheless, there will be some obstacles for people to overcome when trying to go on these nature walks. These obstacles include living in a big city, busy schedule, the weather, inability to walk, and even technology. However, you can overcome each of these obstacles by making them opportunities to go on these nature walks instead. So if you live in a big city, you can find your nearest parks and go there, because honestly, all major cities I can think of have at least one park that you can go to. Even New York City has one, and that is one of the biggest cities in the world. So if you have a busy schedule, this can be an opportunity to learn how to organize yourself and think outside of the box to better yourself. If weather is an issue, then just dress appropriately and you should be all good to go there. Now, if you cannot walk, then honestly, going like on a wheelchair or on crutches or a walker or anything like that, that would all work. Honestly, even though you cannot walk, it's still important to get some sort of exercise. So I think nature walk, a stroll through a park would be very good for them. So as for technology, you can use it on your walks to get you motivated by listening to music or using some sort of app that allows you to follow your tracks and kind of see your progress or anything like that. So yeah. So after all the information I've gathered throughout the course of this class and the research I did for this project, I believe I found the most optimal way to do these nature walks. To optimize your time in nature and exercising, I believe you should do at least 3 walks a week for at least an hour per walk. The walks should be in nature-based areas like parks, trails, or reservations, and you can go alone or with others like friends, family, or pets. It's totally up to you. So to allow no distractions, you should only bring your cell phone just in case of emergency, for listening to music and to take pictures if that interests you. But make sure to put your phone on silent and on airplane mode for the duration of the walk, and do not bring anything distracting like video games. So to be prepared, you should bring water and a healthy snack and adjust accordingly to the weather. So yeah, those are all the choices I made. I made all these choices mainly to just optimize your time in nature and exercising, for allowing no distractions during the walk, and being prepared for any situation as well. As for my interview, I completed an email interview with Professor Rebold. he agreed to be my interviewee, but had a very hectic schedule, so he was only able to complete an email interview with me. So I started the interview by explaining everything I mentioned so far in this presentation. Then I asked him two questions. The first one was, how does he understand the problem as I outlined it in his particular context? So he states in his email that the problem is sedentary behavior, and technology often promotes sedentary behavior because when we are on technology, we are usually sitting and or laying down. Sedentary behavior contributes to premature morbidity and mortality. So yeah, that was his answer to the first question. Moving on to the second question. The second question was that what does he think of my analysis and the proposed nature walk details I created? So his response to that question was that he liked my intervention, but it is imperative that if the cell phone is brought out on nature walks, it is only used for emergency situations, music, or to take pictures. A lot of his previous research has focused on different cell phone functions like texting, talking, and music, and how it affects exercise performance. So in short, texting and talking reduces our exercise intensity, resulting in minimal health benefits. So in order to have health benefits from an exercise session, we need to be exercising at a moderate intensity. And it is also important to turn notifications off, because those notifications are dopamine triggers that make it nearly impossible to ignore our cell phones. So his answer intrigued me, so I kind of followed up with my own question. I asked him if he could recommend anything for my proposed nature walk that I have so far. He then answered that by stating that he liked all my ideas, but to think about things that would take away from a person being able to completely submerge themselves in nature, and also bringing a friend is a tricky one, because you need to make sure they're on board with not using their cell phone as well. So yeah, overall, his feedback and suggestions helped me greatly with figuring out what to keep and change about my proposed nature walk. So I want to thank Professor Rebold again for taking the time to be my interviewee. I learned a whole bunch from our interview. So with his words in mind, I decided to really emphasize putting my phone on silent and airplane mode, because Professor Rebold mentioned that his previous research led to the conclusion that texting and talking reduced our exercise intensity and led to minimal health benefits as well. Also, I decided to change going on walks alone or with someone else to just going alone, because Professor mentioned you should try to submerge yourself in nature to get the maximum benefit, but if someone else is not on board with that idea, it can lower those benefits. And the last thing I decided to add was a period where you do not listen to music and just enjoy the sounds of nature instead. I decided to add this because of the reason I mentioned before about how Professor mentioned you should try to submerge yourself in nature to get the full benefit from it. So yeah, I believe all these revisions will help improve the quality of these nature walks, because you'll be more submerged in nature and not be distracted. Now, how I would conduct this project is very simple and straightforward in my opinion. First, I would get a group of volunteers to do this nature walk for a month. The number of volunteers would have to be at least 10 people, but the more the merrier, honestly. The group would include at least one college-age person, an elderly person, and a middle-aged adult, so I get kind of a variety of different age groups. Second, I would have the participants take a physical at the doctor's and complete some questionnaires like the Godin Leisure Activity Scale, Profile of Mood States, Sleep Quality Scale, and Smartphone Compulsion Test. All these would be done before starting the walks and after the month of walking. These tests will give me results of their physical health, how active they are, their mood state, their sleep quality, and how addicted they are to their phone overall. Third, I would have the participants follow the newly revised nature walk rules during their walks. I don't think I'll go over these rules since I mentioned all of them earlier in the presentation. So if you need a refresher, you can kind of go back in the video and quickly read over them again. But lastly, I would use the data from the physicals and questionnaires to determine if the nature walks actually improved their health from the beginning of the month to the end of the month by comparing the beginning results to the end results. And these were all the works cited I used for this project. And yeah, that is all from me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this presentation and could take away at least one thing from it. So thank you so much for listening, and I hope you all have a great day. Thank you so much.